And what we want to do is really explore the power of beliefs, because these also make up our inner landscape, and they sometimes get in the way of us seeing, of us being able to understand what's really going to bring us the happiness, the sense of fulfillment that we saw in the previous slides. And we'll talk quite a bit more about that. So on this next slide, let's back up and look at what beliefs are and how they influence us. So we're all on the same page with an understanding of sort of the mechanics of this. Beliefs are really opinions or convictions that we accept to be true or real. There's a lot of power in that statement if we just digest it. And our beliefs can be conscious or unconscious, or some people might call them subconscious. But they're powerful because they're a lens through which we see, interpret, and interact with the world. It's like a filter we go through that informs our actions and thoughts and things like that. And then we call a set of learned beliefs basically a mindset. And these learned beliefs are a lot of times the unconscious ones, where we don't even know where they came from. So what we're going to talk a bit about is how they influence us. You know, and the fact is that our needs are often filtered through our belief system to generate feelings, thoughts, and actions. So again, our beliefs sometimes get in the way of us seeing what's really going to meet the needs that'll produce the positive feelings that we just saw in the previous pictures. So that sounds a bit convoluted, so let's look at an example. So there's a story arc in these pictures. So if you can, please follow me from the left to the right, kind of going up the top and then swooping back around. Here's an example of a societal belief system. If you go to college and if you get a degree, you will become successful. You'll get the job where you get to wear a suit. You'll get to travel. You're going to earn lots of money. You'll be able to buy a nice car. You'll meet the man or woman of your dreams. You'll start a family. You'll get to buy the big house. And in our societal belief system, for many of us, that's the definition of success that we have basically embraced and embodied. So wave at me if this sounds familiar to you. Have you heard this before? I can't see everybody's pictures. Okay. Anyone who's waving or not, please share, open your mic and share if you would, where you heard this, where you got these ideas that this was the definition of success.
School, high school.
Absolutely. And forgive me, I can't see your name. Absolutely. Where else?
Parents, grandparents.
Parents, grandparents. Where else?
Advertising in the media.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Television, social media, newspapers.
Friends.
Friends. You guys are hitting all my talking points in my notes. Awesome. How many of you don't know where you got this idea from, but can relate to it? Anyone? Yeah.
It looks it's almost like a common sense. It comes from everywhere.
Right. Exactly. When I ask myself this question,
right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I cut someone off?
No. It's something that's right. That's it.
Yeah, it's like it's something that is just there. It's like the way things are. I can't pinpoint one person or one place I got it from. It's just so pervasive in our society. And I think, you know, we had some people from different countries respond. I don't think it's just a US thing. I think it's fairly prevalent in most parts of the world. And, you know, in the US, we even call this the American dream. I don't know if all of you have heard this before. But we have to ask ourselves, whose dream is this? You know, is it your dream? Or have these beliefs been planted in you? And it sounds like for a lot of us, they are these learned beliefs from our parents, our teachers, our school system, the media. The mindset's so ingrained that we just assume it to be true. And we never really stop to question sort of where this came from until some of us start to, what I'll call, awaken. So beyond this definition of success, you know, we're also told, we're also led to believe that these things, these material things and more, will bring us a sense of happiness. So we get all of these things, we do all of this, we have all of this, and we should be happy, right? Where our existence, the be, is at the end of it. But far too often, many of us are left feeling much more like the next photo. We're left feeling like this gentleman. And I mean, for me, when I look at him, I can relate to a sense of restlessness, of uncertainty, of emptiness, of, stress, confusion. It just like, what is the meaning of life? And why is this, again, that we're kind of buying into this? It's because these beliefs, these societal beliefs that we've chased, many of us have chased, have led us to a life that didn't fulfill our innate needs, like meaning, belonging, impact, and becoming. So we're left just feeling empty. And, for me, as we teed up, I spent years in Silicon Valley tech companies. And, when I started, I call it awakening. I looked around. I started looking around and I just recognized that the life I built, I had all of those things. It didn't fit anymore. Nothing was giving me a sense of fulfillment. And I ended up leaving my corporate career and joining this crazy and amazing group of radicals where I could do something where I felt like I was working on purpose and making an impact that resonated with my heart and mind. So with that said, there's a lot of us that are here today because we do want to work with a sense of purpose and we do want to make an impact in the world. We want to do something positive, right? That resonates with our heart and mind. So I want to look at mindset or beliefs from a little bit different angle, another set of beliefs that directly relate to our sense of power, our belief in our own agency or ability to make an impact. So if we look at the left-hand side of this screen, we have categorized some of these beliefs into what we call an institutional mindset. And that is that we look to institutions as the ones with the power and the responsibility and ability to solve the problems. On the other side, the impact mindset, we call it the more empowering mindset, it embodies the individual and collective power and responsibility to make an impact, to make a difference, to create the change I think that we're all yearning for and want to see in the world. So to get a better feel for this, I'm going to ask you to help me fill in the rest of this chart. So the first one is done for us. So if we look on the left-hand side, we've got the word society. So in the institutional mindset, the well-being of society is the responsibility of the government. We flip to the right-hand side, the impact mindset. It's where we embrace a sense of personal responsibility, whether we act alone or in a group. The idea is that I feel I am responsible for contributing to the welfare of society, and we don't abdicate all the responsibility to the institutions. So I'm going to ask you to help me fill out the rest of the chart. So we'll go back to the left-hand side of the chart on the institutional mindset. In an institutional mindset, teaching is the role of whom? Just go ahead and unmute yourself, please, and shout out some answers like you did before.
Leader.
Excuse me?
The leader.
The leader. Exactly. What else? The leaders of what?
Whatever the institution is doing.
Whatever the institution is doing. Thank you. Right on. Anyone else?
The school.
The school system, right? And in most countries, that is an institutional set of, schools, elementary schools, sometimes colleges, right? It's the role of the school system. Anyone else?
Religious leaders.
Religious leaders, good one. Yep. So again, these are all big powerhouses, institutions. So if we flip to the impact mindset, we can take a whole different look, a whole different lens to look at what teaching is. So what teaching is about what in an impact mindset?
Evolving the whole.
Evolving the whole. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Self-discovery.
Discovery.
Self-discovery.
To help discover. Powerful. Right? It's not just
Self-discovery.
learning math, right? It's to help discover. I'm sorry, lady, go ahead.
I think he said self-discover, not help-discover.
Self-discovery. Thank you.
Yeah.
Give your example with your experience.
Exactly. To be a role model, to mentor. It's a whole different way of looking about what teaching is about. And there becomes two components to it, right? Discovery, as someone mentioned, and then sharing that with other people. Great. Thank you. So let's look at the next one. Change. In an institutional mindset, change flows in what direction?
This, of course, is an old mindset. Change flows from top down.
Exactly. I wish it were an old mindset, right? It is an old mindset, and yet so many of our institutions still operate in that model. Do we realize that? Change flows from top down. Exactly. Now, in the impact mindset, how do we look at change? How can change flow?
The change flows when we don't have fear.
Change flows when we don't have fear. Exactly. And where does it flow? Who does it flow to?
Like distributed power or...
Exactly. It's distributed. It's not top down. Change can flow. You know, we hear of grassroots movements where, you know, it's from the bottom up. But in self-managing organizations or co-ops, change flows in any direction it wants to. There are no rules about it. It can go diagonal. It can go sideways. It can go across the ocean. It's an organic emergence of what needs to be done. Great job. I'm going to skip that next one, responsibility, and I'm going to go to self-worth. If anyone, hopefully people can see it on the screen. If not, I'll just read to it. In an institutional mindset, self-worth is measured by what?
Transparency.
Excuse me?
Transparency.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Transparency.
Transparency?
Yes.
Good answer. Awesome. What else?
Others.
Others. Absolutely. We look at our own self-worth by the way others see us. That was powerful. I felt that. What else?
How well you're moving up the ladder of success.
How well you're moving up the ladder of success. If we go back to the exercise we did before or the pictures we looked at, right? It goes back to what you have, you know, what your title is, what your role is, what kind of car you've got in the driveway. In an impact mindset, how do we measure self-worth?
I don't think we measure it. It's a sense of beingness that comes. I don't feel you can measure how much love you have. It's just a sense of your love in the world, I guess.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful response. I'm going to do a namaste sign to you. Exactly. Anyone else have a different response or sense of that? Okay, I think we get the idea here. You know, self-worth isn't really measured in an impact mindset. You know, we just step into a way of being that's loving and kind. And when we create those things that we've been talking about, meaning, belonging, impact, becoming, when we're sharing ourselves with the world, you know, we have a sense of self-worth organically. So I want to also add that this impact mindset on the right-hand side is this human-centric mindset. You know, if we think about our current situation and where we are, we're in the midst of a global pandemic, and our governments are struggling to meet our needs. You know, that's the kindest way I can say it. Our hospitals are overwhelmed and they're struggling to meet the needs of the patients. Yet around the world, people are stepping up as individuals and groups to organize, to collaborate, to make a difference and to help in any way they can in this. People are making masks. They're delivering medical supplies and food to the elderly. They're offering to walk dogs. There are online, you know, craft exercises that are coming up for all the kids that are out of school. I read about a plumbing company that was, you know, redistributing or redeploying some of its vans to deliver pharmaceutical supplies to hospitals that couldn't get them. And an opera company that stopped making costumes and started making masks that actually would be accepted by hospitals. So there's just so much out there that we can do, and examples of neighbors helping neighbors. And again, it's really about embracing this impact mindset and catching ourselves when we look at the world through the lens of the institutional mindset. Because when we're trapped in that mindset, it really impacts our ability to make an impact, to make a difference, to do what we want to do.